Hi there fellow guitarists, Josh Rogers here. Welcome to my first tutorial that's going to teach you a little bit about left hand technique. In this tutorial I'm going to be covering 3 basic exercises. You don't have to play with the right hand at all. It's all about focusing on the left hand. One of the key things for the left hand is really to relax and to not let your fingers stray too far from the strings like this. Now don't get me wrong, I've got some friends, they're amazing guitar players and their fingers, they fly right out there, and somehow they're much faster than I am and actually more accurate as well. I don't know how they do it with their fingers going right out there. I kind of struggle even reaching that speed or getting close to that speed with my fingers close to the strings. But anyway, the principle that I'm about to show you is a good one, and that's to keep your fingers as close as you can to the strings. Most times guitar players, they focus only when their fingers are going onto the string. So when you're actually doing something, that's when you focus on it, and when you lift off, suddenly all your thought or concentration is gone and you're just kind of thinking about how to get to the next note. One of the important factors is to actually consider what your finger is doing when you're lifting it off the string. It's just subconscious because you know you have to lift it off anyway. The idea is to understand what they're doing actually when you are lifting them off. What happens sometimes is we just let them go into free fall and we're not really focusing. We're just, as I said before, we're thinking about the next note. But the idea here really is to just lift your fingers off the minimal amount of distance required. I don't want my fingers flying, right out many centimeters or inches from the string. I want to try to keep them fairly close. A good rule is to not let them sort of go any further than, let's say, 10 millimeters or a centimeter, or in imperial terms about half an inch or something like that. You want to try to keep your fingers really close. That's the idea anyway. So let's have a look at this exercise. We're going to put all of our 4 fingers here. You can place them anywhere you like along the fretboard. It doesn't really matter. It's completely up to you. So we're going to anchor them here, and we're going to focus on this first finger. And this is going to help you to keep your fingers close to the strings, increase their dexterity and their accuracy while other fingers are anchored. What I mean by anchored is that these ones stay there while one finger is moving. The pattern is the same for each finger. So let's just run through it. I'm going to go to the 4th string and then to the 2nd string. You can do it as many times as you like. Let's just say 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then back to the home position. If you know about typing, you've got a home position. You go back to your home position and then you do the exact same thing with the next finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. And back to the home position. 3rd finger, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to the home position, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to the home position. Now the idea is to expand upon that and stretch further and further out as you go. If we go back, you can actually do it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1. So this time I'm doing it out to the 5th string and to the 2nd string. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, as you probably imagined, the further stretch here, you can go 6, 2, or if you want you can go 6, 1, 6, 1, 6, 1, 6, 1. Any combination is up to you. The idea is just to keep your fingers anchored and concentrate on what the moving finger is doing. So you're moving. Think about making sure that your finger doesn't stray too far. So you don't want this kind of thing. You just want to keep it moving quickly and accurately and not too much pressure. Same with the 3rd finger. 4, 5, 6. Then finally with the 4th finger. 1, 6. And back to the home position. An important thing to note is that when you start using the 4th finger, there's a tendency to do this, which is kind of moving your wrist. It is actually possible to do it with a minimal amount of movement in the wrist. The more of this you do, the more chance there is to miss the strings. So what we're trying to do is keep the movement restricted to the knuckle and the finger itself without too much of, or if possible, any of this sort of horizontal movement or lateral movement from the forearm. So we're keeping everything steady there. And out. There's a little bit of movement, can't be helped. My fingers aren't particularly long, so for me I have to move around a little bit. What you can try to do is move your wrist and forearm, like tucking it into your body, and that can help. One of the main ideas is to not necessarily eliminate unnecessary movement, because that's almost impossible. What you're trying to do though is minimize it and be consciously aware of it. So if you can take steps to keep the movement to a minimum, then you should do so. The next exercise for the left hand is moving two of the fingers at the same time, like this. So we're doing there. I'm going to do the exact same thing basically, but I'm going to lead with the second finger and then follow with the first to the same string. So then I'm going 4, 2. Don't do this sort of thing, you know. The idea is to only be moving one finger at any given time. 1. Then back to the home position, then I'm stretching out to the 5th string, and then to the 6th string and 1st string. What you're going to find here is that you're going to be pushing and pulling like this on your forearm. It can't be helped really, because you have to stretch out so far, especially at this position, and then it's going back. Okay, so then the next one, 3 and 2, this is a bit trickier, especially when you start having to do these kinds of things here. We've got 3, 2, 4th string, 5th string, 6th string, and then finally 3 and 4. The next one now is 3 and 1 together like this. 3, 1, 3, 1. You get the idea. Out to the 5th, out to the 6th. Then 4 and 2, these two fingers. 4, 5th, and then out to the 6th. 1st, 6th, 1st, back to the home position. Finally, 4 and 1. Once again, try if you can, keep that movement to a minimum. Here's an interesting little thing. I don't even know if it's really an exercise, but my guitar teacher taught this to me. My first guitar teacher, Mr. Peter Thwaites, he taught this to me. Maybe he doesn't even remember. I started out on the 6th string, and I'm going to move 2 fingers at a time like this. 1 and 3. They lift off together, and then they go into the next string. And then 4 and 2 lift off together, and they skip a string and go just underneath. So it's going from to the 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string, then those also go to the 1st string, and then you go back the way you came. It sort of does resemble a spider actually, creeping across the strings. Interesting thing. I don't really know if it's like an exercise. He did teach it to me, and there is some validity in it, you know, just enjoyment and being able to control your fingers enough to take 2 off at a time and place them on some other strings together. party trick. Fellow guitarists, I hope you've enjoyed this quick tutorial for some basic left hand exercises. For the next 11 weeks, along with the Giuliani exercises for the right hand, I'm going to be releasing one right hand lesson per week as well. So it's going to be one right hand lesson, one left hand lesson, and a tutorial for a song or a piece. So make sure you stay tuned. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you press like and also subscribe to the channel. That way you're kept up to date with everything that I'm doing on the channel. As you know, let your fingers fly.